the social feedback system of teaching people how to function with stress, how to deal with those. And then we replace it with medication, which stunts the development of those coping strategies over and over and over again. So the reason I can be sitting here doing this, having intense things that could bring me under all types of like things, you know what I mean? Trying to be devil's advocate and say, hey, this child who just shot a school needs to have his voice heard, isn't particularly like, you know what I mean? I'm not jumping on a bandwagon of hoorah and things like that. It's stressful. I'm still stressed. I just have way better coping mechanisms now. The business I just tried to do is insane. The dealing with the business, like closing down, the dealing with having to defend my choice on what pharmaceuticals I do and do not put in my body has been very stressful. Stressful at a level that most of you will never understand, thank God. But the strategies I developed by not relying on pharmaceuticals is what allows me to stay fine. Do you know what I mean? And you can look at me and go, you're not fine. You're being all angry and outrageous and you're just constantly doing this shit and I don't like it. You don't like it because you know somewhere in there I'm subtly criticizing you and have been the whole time because it always is you. That's not directly you. It's when you build a system that pushes people like me away so potentially I can be protected only to then be scapegoated in the same model. You've created a class, created a race. And everyone looking at you, you're a white fucking guy. I had it the whole time. The biggest thing, anything I would comment on the vaccine, you can tell underlying that, there's a thing of like, you're a fucking white man. You're a white man. How would you have anything wrong? How would anything ever be wrong with you? How can you complain? How can I complain? Because I was born into a fucking system that doesn't have this. There isn't like, it's not even looked at the same level as race. Race actually has a higher social kind of awareness at the moment. This thing is still living in the dark ages. Mental health, fuck me. And you don't think if you grow up in a small community and your mum is the crazy one, you don't think that perpetuates through your entire life and everyone looks at you, and then when you perpetuate a myth that mentally ill people, it always runs, in families and all this shit, everyone's just sitting there, anything you do, they immediately put it in that box. It's like the same. It's like saying, oh, there's a black guy in a car, don't shoot you. You know what I mean? All those things exist. And I'm not saying it's worse or equal. I'm just saying it's the same. It's the same thing. Except there is a weird disconnect going through the world looking like someone who would potentially not have any worries, man. No worries, man. You've got everything under control. Look at you. You're a reasonably, well-presented white man. How could you ever have anything wrong? And how would one of these professionals analyze this? I don't know. I'd say they'd probably say, you're acting quite manic. You're talking a lot. You seem to be talking quickly. You seem to be doing a lot of outrageous movements. You seem to have some type of grandiose delusion that you have a vision to fix these problems that you're actually suffering from. Fuck off. Fuck off. Any psychiatrist out there, you do an hour-long video. You sit there and present to me an hour-long video responding to what I've just said. You're the expert, mate. You go and do that. This is where we live now. We live in a world where every teenager is interacting at levels like this and levels that you don't even understand. Why are children doing this Snapchat thing where they take weird photos of themselves? What's that phenomenon? I'll tell you what I see that phenomenon as. I see it as a rejection of this artificial, glamorous creation that the older people happen to be living in. And so there's a rejection by just doing weird shots because they want to develop at a point where there is authenticity. And they're aware that you can position things in certain places and look good and do lighting or whatever, or talk shit or anything. And they're rejecting that en masse. And they're rejecting that by building their own communication, by building their own ways of communicating, because they realize that all the grown-ups are crazy. So go ahead. If you're a psychiatrist, I'm not going to sit in your office in a dark room while you analyze me. I want you to analyze me now by this, and I want you to respond to every key point that I've made throughout this presentation. I want you to use all your training, right? You can even stick your little diploma, you can stick it in the background to give you that sense, similar to a politician having a flag in the background and standing behind a podium. You can do that, but unless you individually address every single point that I have made, and then you tell me how that is not relevant, how that is being addressed in the complete field, justify your job right now, or I will continue to remove every single piece of social fucking thing that you have, because you, when the mirror is shone back on you, I've got diagnoses for you as well. And it's like what you're training, maybe 5, 6 years, whatever it was. I've got 36 years of direct observation of this industry in a time when technology went like this. So I've been dealing like this my whole life. I have access to information, any information I want about anything immediately. I've developed strategies. I've spent 7 years on figuring out how exactly to do this exact thing that I'm doing, how to best do it, how to protect myself from potential attacks, how to expose your bullshit. So here we go. I'm not saying your entire field is bullshit. I'm saying you've simplified your service model, as everyone does in every business. That's what we're right in the peak of. So you simplified your business model. You brought it down to something that has no points of thing because you've simplified it. You just got it to a product. Come talk to me. I give you the product. Everybody wins. Talk to me. You're broken. You get a pill product. Everybody wins. And then all you need to do in that business model is protect the identity of that field that exists. So the field of psychiatry, mental health needs to remain there for your little thing to keep running, your little dodgy operation, your little bitumen driveway repair scam, or any other scam that would be splashed over every page of a local newspaper if it was being thing. But you've just got to protect that model, that all you're really doing is providing someone with a product, a pill that sometime with markups and margins, which the person might not even be seeing in this country because it's all pushed through the tax system and all that. So that is a simplified system, and no one can even see you, no one can even criticize it, no one can even mention it. It is so ingrained in our society, which is great job. Great job on your branding, great job on all those things, except fuck you, because you're not gonna fuck me over. You're not gonna fuck me over, you're not gonna fuck the next generation over, you're not gonna fuck my kids over. Your game is up because it failed miserably. Miserably. And every section of this little racket needs to be shut down. immediately. And the resources going into this little scam need to be directly put into the local people on the ground who actually are not radically saving the world, just gently keeping order. 2 people in a community, maybe not these artificial suburban communities, but a community. 2 powerful people, kind-hearted people who are aware of social complications and things like that, strategically given a position where they can operate in there and keep the peace and counsel people and do that. Not police. I'm talking, you know, the people. I've known them my entire life. These are the only people who need this protection. Remove all subsidy of this system that gives you something broken and a pill. All of it. Have it still there privately. You know, if you want to go pay for that, go and do that. But if that is your response, because even these people, these people are directed to not just fix the problem, they're like, get them to that solution. No. That solution killed my brother. It basically stole my mum's life and tried to directly attack me multiple times. All within, it's like, you know, I'm the thing it was meant to protect. My kids are the thing it was meant to protect. It has only done damage. It's all it has done. And then the only response from you again is to point the finger back at me and saying the actual rational thing I'm trying to say is I'm crazy again. And you throw me back in the fucking loop. I will leave. I will find whatever location I can best pursue the destruction of your field, wherever that is, however that is, whoever that's in connection with, is where I will go, and I will slowly expose, and I'll do it on a local level first. I'll go, Western Australia fucks me over, and they continue to fuck people over by these illusions. Pharmaceutical industry does this. The psychiatrist field, or whatever, that continues to do it. I'll just sit there every day. And you can see how, where does he go? So Mark McGowan was in charge of the country, righto, we've got a shooting, where do I get mental health information from? I even empathise with you, mate, because you just don't understand. You go, where do I get mental health from? The person with the diploma on the wall. Do you? What are they going to tell you? They just bought a boat because Pfizer fucking paid them however much, took them on a fucking party where they boned strippers and fucking drank champagne out of shoes for the whole weekend. But yeah, let's listen to that guy. It's so funny because, the whole thing is, I'm aware that criticising these portions of society in history are really bad. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to start an all-out Soviet-level war against these professional industries. I'm trying to actively criticise gigantic ideological and structural corrupt models that are just in plain sight, and I've lived in it. I've lived in it. I've seen it. I've seen every aspect of it. I know I study these things. I study businesses. I'm a business person. I study business models. I study marketing, PR, all those things. I know what you're doing. Stop fucking doing it. You're doing it to me. This is a gradual but never-ending offensive action towards your industry. And you have a choice. You have a choice to start making adjustments now and potentially salvage some type of legitimacy, or continue on the attack and I will decimate you. So there we go. This is my 36-year-old version, with lots of education, lots of experience in navigating a system that is actively trying to fuck you over. Like, I've developed the skill of walking that line because I've had to walk that line my entire life. And I will protect anyone else who is on that line, who has been put in that situation. Anyway, always long. I'm just going to say they're going to be long now, because once I start, I keep going. And that's not because I'm crazy. It's because what I'm trying to explain is very complicated. It's complicated. It's corrupt. It's a big mess. It's a big muddle of soup, of crap, of illusion. And it takes time to explain. And this is why it continues. Because anybody trying to explain what I'm explaining, there's obviously going to be some passion there, some urgency in their presentation. And when they're presenting that, it is so easily labeled, condemned, looked down at, mob, rule, saying, wrong, crazy person, crazy fucking person. And so that's it. And then you get simple sound bites, simple PR methods, simplistic, funnel-driven entire industries of absolute abuse. That's today's thing done. Thank you for watching. I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I'd love to hear how you're all going, what your thoughts are, if anyone would like to comment.